Hi, welcome to the general love reading for the week of October 12th, 2018. We are going to be focusing on the general dynamics and basically the energy and atmosphere of what your love life is going to be like in the next week. For those of you who are tuning in and it's not the week of October 12th, that's okay. This is a timeless reading, so you will be able to get something out of this. For those of you who are subscribers and new viewers, I want to say welcome and hi, and I just love your feedback, your energy, the comments you've been leaving me. I mean, it's just so great to be doing this for you guys and also get a sense of community from you guys, because that's what we're building right now. We're building a community, and that's just, it's really great. And I'm starting to look forward to some of the specific people commenting, and it's just, I just really love it. And I didn't expect that I was going to love that aspect of it as much as I do. So I do want to acknowledge that and let you guys know that I really appreciate every one of you. If there's anything you need to know about me that I haven't covered, you'll see that in the description. I do offer private readings that are more specific. All of that information's down there though. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. We've got pile 1 are the rose quartz heart, pile 2 are the blue lapis lazuli heart, and pile 3 are the purple fluorite heart. Okay, I'd like for you guys to take a few seconds and focus on which one resonates for you. If you need to, go ahead and pause the video and think on that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to move pile 2 and pile 3 so we can focus on pile 1. All right, those of you who picked the rose quartz, we've got the Psychic Tarot for the Heart, Oracle of Visions, and the Gilded Reverie Lenormand that we're going to be looking at this week. Okay. So we've got refusing to see. There's some kind of problem that's going on between you and your person where one of you, and I really think it's your person, because I don't feel like this is pertaining to any kind of viewer. It just does not feel like a viewer energy. It feels like somebody who's absent from this experience, from this exchange. They're refusing to see something. They might be in a place where they're kind of stubborn right now, or they might be in a place where they're just not really open to something. But just know that, you know, we've got a lot of blue energy too. So that has to do with communication. So, I mean, I really think that there's something that you're trying to alert them to or let them know that either they're not ready to open up to yet, or they are just being really stubborn about something. And this card is just reminding you to just take a deep breath and know that they will be open to that eventually. It's just not now, because this is really about a not now time period rather than a, you know, will they ever, will they won't. They will, because, you know, you've got the communication's too high for it not to. But yeah, just know that thing, it's not going to resolve itself this week. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be resolved. It will be resolved. And then, in general, you will find, though, that your relationship is bringing a lot of happiness. There's just going to be a lot of, like, really elevated feelings this week for you when you're reflecting on them or when you're interacting with them. And it's going to feel a little bit more solid, a little bit more stable. When I think about stability, not only do I think about that balance and that grounding, but I also literally think of material. Of course, you know, stability is paired up with a lot of different words that have to do with material world. For example, financial stability, right? So of course there's going to be that kind of knee-jerk reaction for me to be like, oh, so that has to do with money. I don't think it's just money though. That might be the way that it manifests for you, but for other people, that might manifest more towards just feeling more grounded, feeling as if the relationships just more material, more physical, in the physical world. I don't necessarily mean a whole lot of sexual energy, because even though we haven't looked at these cards, I haven't gotten that, you know, I'm not getting like it's going to be a particularly physical week, anything different from usual, but it's just, I'm getting a lot of just groundedness and being present in reality and that kind of thing. All right. Okay. So, this is kind of an interesting card to get. Now, this deck is very projective. There's no keywords. It's meant to be a deck where one looks at it and they just kind of put their own ideas onto it. It's great for those of us who are intuitively led because it gives us something to focus on, kind of like a scrying mirror or a crystal ball or a scrying bowl. It gives us something to focus on without it being really, really obvious, you know, what it means. Very similar to an ink blot test, which in psychology is a projective test. I just wanted to explain how these cards work. Again, the number is 49, if that means something to you. And just so you know, you got a 2, a 4, and a 4 in this one as well. So what I'm getting from this though is that you're gonna really like move up a little bit, but as you move up, like some people will like move up in the relationship and it'll be like, oh, we've gotten engaged, or now we're getting married, or now we've exchanged keys, or now we've decided to move in with each other. You know, it's very, very defined. Like you'll feel that your relationship is moving up to a different level, but it's not going to be a really defined level. Okay, but wherever it's going is a place where you are more in content. You're going to be more content in your relationship because of that. There is going to be a little bit more passion in your relationship, and you'll also kind of find that some of the stuff from the past is going to come up again, but it's not like bringing up old arguments or anything like that. It's not a negative way. It's just that some of the fond memories and some of the like good times from the past are going to start repeating. So for example, maybe some of you have already gone on a trip maybe last year at around this time, and you're going to go to the same place this, you know, again, and start maybe a tradition of going there every October. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Or it could be something a little bit more abstract, like, you know, a while ago, you guys had a really interesting conversation. It made you feel a certain way. And then, you know, this week you have another experience with this person that makes you feel the same way. And it reminds you of that conversation. Something like that. There's going to be you know, something from the past coming back. As far as, oh, that's interesting. Oh, this is so great. Okay, as far as your Lenormand cards, Lenormand is read in a very different way from tarot, okay? And I just want to say that these are read kind of like hieroglyphics. When you look at the tarot, or, well, oracle cards really, because that's what these are, even though these are based on a tarot deck, you know, you're looking at different impressions, and and if you're intuitively led, then you're also kind of projecting your own intuition onto that. Lenormand cards are a little bit different. They literally, this is always going to be a boat. It's always going to represent longing or long distance, okay? This is always going to be a scythe. Some people call them scythe, I think. And it's always going to represent cutting away or harvesting, okay? It's always going to represent that, depending on the context and depending on what you're talking about. Like this week we're talking about love. It's gonna take on like slightly different meanings, but Lenormand's very literal. They're like pictographs, okay? So what these two cards mean together is that there's either a distance between the two of you that's going to get like it's going to be made smaller, or it's not going to feel as distant, or the longing between it's like there's a longing on your end for something to happen or for something to materialize, and that longing is going to be cut away from. It's not going to be as much longing for you. So what that tells me is that something is going to fill that longing need for you. So either this relationship's going to move forward, which this card and the joy and stability card talk about, which I think that this really, usually this just reinforces this, or you're gonna find a way to fulfill that longing in a different way. That doesn't have to do with the romantic relationship. Since we're focusing on romance, though, I really think this has to do with, like, the longing being cut away from. I'll give an example. For example, I might really hope that a person I'm interested in will send me a message. And maybe in a couple of days, that person sends me a long email. That would cut away that longing, right? Or maybe they send me a short text and that cuts away that longing a little bit, but I still have it, you know, because this isn't saying that your longing's coming to an end, but it does say that it's not going to be as painful, basically. So you guys, you know, you're doing pretty good. Don't worry about this, kind of stubbornness. You might even have a little bit of an argument over this. Don't worry about it though, because your person will open up. Eventually. It's just, now's not the time. This is just about the timing not being right. All right, guys? Okay. Moving on to pile 2, those of you who picked the blue lapis lazuli, we are using the Gilded Reverie of Lenormand, the Oracle of Visions, and Tarot for the Psychic Heart, which is based on a tarot deck, but is not really a tarot deck. I wouldn't call it a tarot deck. Okay, so you guys have your heart chakra. So you've got you guys both are open to love. You're both open to one another. You'll find that this person is more responsive to you than they usually have, or that they have been recently. And you'll also find that you're willing to be a little bit more vulnerable than, say, that you have been in the past. Both of you are seeking the truth in this relationship, so you're going to be, you guys are going to be exploring what defines the two of you, and then what also defines the two of you together. One of the first ways that a person seeks truth is by defining what a thing is. One can't infer truth from a thing without defining it. So there's that definition, and then there's like bringing light to the situation. So I really believe this has to do with just getting to know each other, getting to know what's going on inside of the other person, and then sharing that as well. And that makes sense because the heart chakra opens up, and then you are in this communication place where you're seeking truth. The heart chakra is number 4, and then seeking the truth is number 7. And then we also have 16, which is rebuild. I kind of think about this, even though it's supposed to be the equivalent of the tower in the traditional tarot deck, I think of this as kind of like right in between the tower and the star, which is like the tower has fallen, and there's a little bit of hope, you know, but you still have to rebuild, right? So this is talking about rebuilding. In fact, I really wouldn't be surprised if some of you guys that are tuning in are in the area of the recent hurricanes in the United States, like Michael and Florence, okay? And are literally rebuilding, and you're doing that with your person. However, since we're talking about the romantic situation right now, I think that this is also just talking about just setting that foundation and reformulating your relationship again, you know, and just understand that relationships go through that in cycles. One will like when you first meet one another, it's kind of like the first kind of awkward thing that you do is that you start to kind of get this very kind of clumsy foundation, and then you try to build on that, and then once you reach a point, you're like, okay, now we're going to define it, and then the foundation gets a little bit stronger, and you know, that kind of thing. You're in a place where you're making your foundation stronger and you're building on that. And I think that really has to do with opening up. Both of you guys are much more vulnerable this week again, and you guys are just really looking to know one another a lot better. Okay, so this particular deck is geared towards projective projective reading, okay? It's very intuitively led. There's no keyword on this. Of course, there's images that can help guide the intuition, but it's meant to be more projective, like an ink blot test. You know, you've got a very neutral black blob, basically, and the person tells you what they see from it. This, I meant to say rebuild is number 16 if I didn't already. This particular card is number 21. I have no idea why why I'm being led to say this, but if you guys are having issues with your cat, this might be something. I'm just getting issues with cats for some of you guys, and that has nothing to do with love. And I apologize for getting off topic, but it's just such a strong impression that it's like, I don't know, it's like you guys have to think about it. You have to think about your cat. For some reason. But for the love reading, this is you guys are going to be very fortuitous. You're going to find that you're very lucky right now. And you'll also find that, like, there's a lot of, like, fate going on, or synchronicities, or coincidences, or whatever you call those experiences. There's a lot of being in sync. So kind of keep that in mind as well. That'll help solidify the two of you. And also, since you're doing so much in the physical and in the, like, I guess, practical realm, this will, like, add that kind of, like, a little bit of mysticism, a little bit of that kind of spiritual flow. Okay, the Lenormand is not read the way that typical cards are read. It's not about what they symbolize. It's more like a pictograph or a, like hieroglyphics. You know, they all have a certain meaning. So you've got the dog, which is loyalty and friend, and then you've got the snake, which can represent a whole bunch of different things. I personally like it to represent knowledge, and with Lenormand, once you come up with what it represents, that's what you're supposed to stick with. Some people interpret this as another woman. Some people can also interpret this as somebody who's kind of mean, but they're not like what's the word? They're not sneaky about it or cunning. They're just mean. They're just biting. Okay? I don't believe that that's what this means in this reading. And, you know, again, we've got lots of numbers in this. 18 and 7 are the two numbers that are associated with this. So what you're going to be finding is that you're going to learn that your person is a lot more loyal than you thought. They might even demonstrate that they're loyal with you. And you'll also notice that, like, some of you guys, I would expect were friends first before you got together, or maybe you're friends right now and you're working towards a romantic relationship. Just understand that the friendship's being acknowledged in this reading. That there is a lot of caring between the two of you on multiple facets of where a relationship can be. You know, there's the friend feelings, and then there's also the love feelings that are there. And if there is anything the two of you are like working towards, like, as like together, and it's like you want to just go like this straight line to it, the snake can also mean sometimes that there's like kind of a winding path to get there. I personally don't read it that way, but I do want to include it just in case that is meaningful for somebody. But what I believe this means is that you'll get direct knowledge of knowing that your person is loyal to you, knowing that your person is a true friend, that kind of thing. All right, guys. So, I mean, you guys have good stuff. You know, this rebuilding might be a little bit hard, but I'm not feeling any kind of heaviness this week for you guys. I'm feeling, you know, I'm not necessarily feeling really, really light, but I'm definitely not feeling heavy. So it feels like it's very balanced, and just a generally nice week, you know, nothing dramatic. All right, group 3, those of you who picked the Purple Heart. Okay, we're using Oracle of Visions, the Gilded Reverie Lenormand, and Tarot for the Psychic Heart, which is more an oracle deck than a tarot, even though it's based on tarot. So, let me just kind of look at these for a minute. Okay, great. You've got Manifest, which is the Magician in the traditional tarot. This is bringing things that you want in your relationship to the physical reality. I think both of you are doing this. I think it's more on your side, but both of you are doing this week. You've got, and that's number 1. Number 15, the Master. This person is trying really hard to guard their heart. So one of you guys, I feel that this is your person, is going to be a little bit guarded this week. So understand that they're not going to be willing to open up so much on the heart level with you, but they do want something in the world with you. They want something. I mean, I say in the world because it's like the Magician is always talking about manifesting something in the physical world, right? So they definitely want something with you. They're just being really guarded right now. I think that this has to do with your unique situation. They have something in their life that they that either might be holding them back, or, you know, it could be something that's literally in their life in the now, or it could be something from their past. Either that, or they're just really kind of afraid, or they're usually they like to evaluate the whole situation like multiple times before they jump in, you know, they're just cautious. But then you've got one thing is that the two of you, when you do communicate, there's going to be a lot of communication about beliefs, about what you believe to be true, and also it's going to be new stuff, though, stuff that you didn't know about this person. So when the two of you do communicate, that's what you guys are going to be communicating about. If the two of you aren't in communication this week for whatever reason, you'll find that you'll be thinking about new ways that you have come to beliefs about this situation, and you're going to be challenging those beliefs, and just know how you challenge it is going to make the relationship and the way that you view it a little bit more clear. I know that some people, especially when they're out of contact with their person, maybe they're on a trip, or maybe there was some kind of falling out, or maybe they're just really terrible at communication, that kind of thing. Clarity is so important. So it's good to know that there's going to be some kind of clarity there. Okay, so the Oracle of Visions is very projective. It's not, there aren't any keywords, right? It's not based on tarot at all. It's just pictures. And like an ink blot test, one just looks at it, and what they come up with is what it's supposed to mean, which is great for those of us who are intuitively led, right? So your card, the number is 43, in case that means something to you. You guys got 2 1s, and you also got a 15 here. So I just want to make sure you know all the numbers. Right now, this card's giving you permission to like really take care of yourself. You might want to like dress up, or like put on some, like those ladies out there, you might want to put on some new makeup, or maybe get your hair done a little bit different. I wouldn't say change anything really dramatic. It's more like dressing yourself up rather than changing yourself, you know. But I'm not telling you to cancel a hair appointment to get your hair dyed a different color or anything. I mean, if that's what you're going to do it. But it's just, what I'm getting is like, is that it will help your relationship if you do something where you try to make yourself look a little bit nicer this week. Or you do something different that enhances your features. So just kind of keep that in mind. And this card also warns a little bit against vanity. Don't become too vain as you're doing this. But I don't feel like that's as much of a problem with you guys as much as it is that, you know, you might want to do something special, like do something to help you feel better. I'm thinking about my nails, you know, and you guys can see my hands, right? And I like, one of the things that I personally do that always makes me feel more attractive is getting my nails done. I actually usually do them myself, but it always makes me feel so much better when I do that. Like I'm a lot more attractive, or I just feel like I have more, I don't know, self-esteem or something like that. So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be really dramatic. It could be something as small as painting your fingernails, or it could be something, you know, as big as like getting a new dress or a new outfit or something like that. So the Lenormand cards are like pictographs, okay? So, so one thing to think about when you think about the Lenormand cards is that, sorry, I'm repositioning them so that you'll be able to see them when I turn them around, is that they're literal and they're read like hieroglyphics, okay? They're not, they don't tend to be read like, oh, I don't know. They don't tend to be read like the tarot. There's not as much symbolism as it is like literal meaning. So you've got the clouds and then you've got the sun. So this tells like a little story for me. See how the sun is starting to come out on this side of the card, and then you've got the sun here. What this tells me is that there's been some confusion in your romantic life lately. And some things are coming to light, you know, just like the clarity of belief, okay, and tells us is that it's going to make you happy, okay? It's going to be something that brings a lot of happiness and a lot of truth and a lot of clarity, and it's something that's going to help the relationship, definitely not hurt it. So kind of keep that in mind, you guys. It looks pretty good, except for this kind of guarding in the heart space. And that really is just, you know, I'm not getting this is going to go on for too long. It might go on into next week, but mostly it's going to just be this week. There's going to be just this kind of, you might even feel a little bit like maybe your person's a little uncomfortable. That's okay. Don't worry about it. They're just being cautious. Either that or they're just going off of what they've learned from the past, okay? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to your weekly love reading. I really appreciate all comments and feedback, and I just love it when you guys leave me things to read, and I do read every single comment. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, anything else you might need to know about me is in the description. And I just wanted to say bye, and I hope you have a good weekend.